Hey friends, Rick from BCW here with the FAB Breakdown. This is part 3 of our 4-part series where we're providing you with some deck techs for your Skirmish season number 4. That's right, Skirmish season number 4 got underway this past weekend, March 26th. We have seen some of the early results and it looks like there is a plethora of decks that are doing well. And in today's episode, we are going to cover the split personality of none other than Viserai. That's right, Viserai, the split personality, split damage young hero, is going to be coming at you with an aggressive deck build for this current Blitz season. So, before we get into that deck tech, let's go ahead and have a word from our sponsor. Hey friends, Rick from BCW here, and in this product spotlight, we're going to be talking about the Prime X4 gaming box, or PX4 gaming box for short. This is my preferred way of storing my Blitz gauntlet, if you will. So let's go ahead and talk about this. This box actually has a nice latching lid here. This will actually keep the lid closed. When you open up the box, you have these 4 feet right here. These actually sit right above the cells where the cards will be in the deck box. Now, this is going to give everything a secure feeling. Nothing's going to shift around with the lid closed. You don't have to worry about it coming open. And then once inside, we do have a removable dice cup. We have 4 cells that you're able to store your decks in. And this is Benji, Kasai, Kano, and Viserai. We have these red removable dividers. Now this is very crucial depending on how you like to transport your equipment or your special hero cards. You can actually remove the red dividers in here. It actually has a little spot right here underneath where the dice cup would normally sit, and that's a place to store that extra divider. And why would you want to store it there? Well, maybe you have cards in magnetic card holders or in top loaders. You can actually fit them into the top of the box. Once the lid's closed, they're not going to go anywhere. You're able to keep everything in one deck box. I love this deck box for being able to take a gauntlet of decks to either teach people how to play the game or being able to test with people for upcoming events. So if you're interested, head on over to bcwsupplies.com. Look for the PX4 gaming box. Order yours today. All right, friends, remember when you're checking out at bcwsupplies.com that you use discount code FAB Breakdown at checkout. That's going to save you 10% off your retail order. Save yourself a little bit of money. Help support the content that I create for Flesh and Blood. Use discount code FAB Breakdown at bcwsupplies.com to save 10%. All right, well, there you go. The PX4 is a wonderful box to use for creating little testing gauntlets for your Skirmish season decks. But enough about that. Let's go ahead and go top down on Viserai. All right, so here we are top down with Viserai. Viserai, whenever you play a Runeblade card, if you have played another non-attack action card this turn, you can create a rune chant. A rune chant is an aura token that is created whenever you play an attack action card or attack with a weapon. Destroy a rune chant, it deals 1 arcane damage to target opposing hero. So this is where we kind of get the nickname split personality with Viserai, because we are splitting the damage between the physical damage of our weapons and our attack action cards and the rune chants that we generate off Viserai's abilities and other cards. So a little bit of foreshadowing, if you will, into this deck. Again, this is going to be a little bit more of an aggressive build, so let's start off like we normally do, talking about the weapons. We are running a Rosetta Thorn. The Rosetta Thorn has a cost of 1 resource, once per turn action attack. Whenever you attack with Rosetta Thorn, if you have played an attack action card and a non-attack action card this turn, deal 2 arcane damage to target hero, and it attacks for 2 physical damage. Once again, splitting. 50% of it is going to be arcane, 50% of it's going to be physical. The other weapon that we are running is the Reaping Blade, primarily because we have the spots for it. In some of the Blitz formats, Reaping Blade has been a godsend just because it can prevent your opponents from gaining life if they have more health than you. Once per turn action, 1 resource, same cost as the Rosetta Thorn. It attacks for 3 physical damage. Now, this isn't really splitting the damage, but Oldhim in Season 3 was basically just trying to fatigue most decks and gain a bunch of health. So this would prevent them from gaining health, depending on how the meta shakes up. As we continue into this Skirmish Season number 4, you may find yourself needing Reaping Blade. There was room for it. I figured might as well include it. When it comes to the equipment in the head slot, we are running the Arcanite Skullcap, and we are also running the Crown of Dichotomy. The Arcanite Skullcap is going to be your default go-to headpiece. It's just really a great piece of equipment for blocking. The Crown of Dichotomy is really here for Arcane Barrier 1 into the Kano matchup. It used to be we'd run this into the mirror match. I don't feel that that is necessary because of one of the upgrades that we got out of Everfest. Next up is going to be the chest piece. We're running just the Bloodsheath Scaletta. The Scaletta blocks 2, then blocks 1, but it has temper, so if you block twice with it, it's going to go bye-bye. But it does have an instant ability to destroy the Bloodsheath Scaletta. The next attack action card and non-attack action card that you play this turn gain. This card is reduced resource cost equal to the number of rune chants that you have in play. Normally this is something you're going to see out of an OTK build, but however, it still blocks 2 and you can get great value, and you still have an ability to stack up some rune chants really quickly in this particular build. We are not going for the OTK, but we have the potential to take advantage of blocking with this to prevent 2 damage, and then popping this on our turn in order to get a Sonata buffed up and then play an attack action card. There are a lot of things you can do with this card. Learning the lines to that is kind of what is the hardest and most important thing you can do to really optimize playing Viserai, especially in an aggressive shell. When it comes to equipment for the hands or arms, we are running the Vexing Quill hand as our main arm slot. This is an action, destroy Vexing Quill hand, create 2 rune chant tokens, go again. It has Arcane Barrier 1, so it's great in our Arcane Barrier package. Another piece of equipment that we are running in the sideboard is the Grasp of the Arcanite. Now this used to be the mainstay. Many people that have played with the Rune Blades know this card. It's a once per turn action, 2 resource cost, create a rune chant, and this costs an additional resource for each rune chant that you control, and it's a once per turn ability. It has Battle Worn, it blocks 2, then blocks 1. Really, this is in here for the decks with on-hit effects that you have to block. Again, since we're being more aggressive, we don't want to block as much with the cards out of our hand. So into things like the Benji deck, this is going to be a great card just to stack up as much armor in front of that Spring Tidings as you possibly can to prevent them from going off. Finally, in the leg slot, we have the Spellbound Creepers. The Spellbound Creepers is a phenomenal piece of equipment. It allows us to extend plays. It allows us to do a lot of go-again shenanigans with our attacks that don't have go-again. So if you're not familiar with Spellbound Creepers, it can block 1, but it has Blade Break, so when you block with it, it's going to be destroyed. Once per turn instant, spend 1 resource, and you can put a bind counter on Spellbound Creepers. If you have played a non-attack action card and an attack action card this turn, you may activate this ability, and the next non-attack action card that you play, you may play it as though it were an instant. At the beginning of your end phase, destroy Spellbound Creepers if you have not dealt arcane damage equal to the number of bind counters that are on Spellbound Creepers. So when you play a non-attack action card, you play the attack action card that doesn't have go again, you spend 1 to activate the creepers, you play a non-attack action card as an instant because you've met the qualifications. You put a bind counter on here, you get to play it as an instant. And if it has go again, it refreshes your action point. So now you get go again essentially, plus whatever that card effect is from that non-attack action card. Now, the most important thing is now that it has a bind counter on it. Every turn you have to deal arcane damage or it's destroyed. And last in the equipment slot, we have a pair of Null Rune Boots. Again, Kano. This is really what we're bringing in. We want to get an Arcane Barrier 3. We have the Crown, we have the Null Rune Boots, and we have the Vexing Quill hand. That's going to give us the Arcane Barrier I feel that we need in order to try and outrace Kano. So this is the equipment. Let's go ahead and get into the attack action cards in the deck. All right, so here we are with the attack action cards in this very aggressive deck. As you can see, we have 20 attack action cards. Starting off up here, we have Amplify the Arcanite, costs 3, blocks 3, attacks for 6, and has the baked-in ability when Amplify the Arcanite costs resource less equal to the number of rune chants you control. So if you have 3 rune chants, it's a 0 for 6 for free. It does not have Go Again, but we have Shenanigans. Remember, we have those creepers and we have other ways of giving cards Go Again. Up next, we have Meet and Greet with a cost of 1, blocks 3, and comes in for 4. If Meet and Greet hits, create a rune chant token. That's very important. And since it's up here at the top of the text, a lot of people forget about it. And then it has very important text at the bottom. If you have dealt arcane damage to an opponent this turn, Meet and Greet gains Go Again. So this could have Go Again. It's kind of conditional. If you've dealt arcane damage for 1 for 4 with Go Again, is great. Up next, we have the Rune Flash. This is a 3 cost, 4 attack, 3 block card, but it also has the same baked-in ability that the Amplify the Arcanite has. Rune Flash costs resources less equal to the number of rune chants you control, so you could get a 0 for 4 with automatic Go Again. Then we have one of the all-stars out of Everfest. We have the Swarming Gloomveil. It is a 0 for 3 that blocks for 3 with a bunch of text. So if you're not familiar with this card, here we go. If you have played or created 1 or more auras this turn, Swarming Gloomveil gains Go Again. If you have played or created 2 or more auras this turn, it gains +1 attack as well as the Go Again. If you've played 3 or more auras this turn, it gains, when this hits a hero, they cannot prevent arcane damage from sources you control this turn, +1 power, plus the Go Again. So it all kind of just stacks up. And the auras that we're creating in this are off Viserai's ability or other cards, which are going to be rune chants. So if you've created a bunch of rune chants, this is coming in for 4 Go Again on hit. They cannot prevent arcane damage. So very awesome card. And the fact that it's a 0 cost with Go Again just for creating an aura. Simple, real simple to create that aura. Real simple to give it Go Again. Awesome card. All right, and we are running 1 9th Blade of the Blood Oath. This card costs 9 power, and 3 block, and it has the same baked-in ability that Amplify and Rune Flash has. 9th Blade of the Blood Oath costs resources less to play for each rune chant you control. Again, it is possible to get it up there on big turns with some of the non-attack action cards. So you can get this for free, or it pitches for 2, or it blocks for 3. It's a really great card when it lines up. I'm only running 1. Normally in the OTK packages, you would run 2 of these. But since we're not leaning heavy into the OTK, I'm only running 1. 1 Dread Triptych. Now, this could also be cut for another Vexing Malice. We'll get to it when we get to it. But I really like this card. I love the utility of being able to set up another turn with this. After a big turn, being able to play this out. It is a blue. It costs 3, blocks 3, attacks for 4, and it has a bunch of text on it. Whenever you attack with Dread Triptych, if you have played a non-attack action card this turn, create a rune chant. Whenever you attack with Dread Triptych, if you have dealt arcane damage this turn, create a rune chant. If Dread Triptych hits, it creates a rune chant. Plus, it's a Rune Blade card, so if you've already played a non-attack action card to trigger the first part, it's going to create a rune chant off this. So without a Mordred Tide, this could just create 4 rune chants if it hits, if you've dealt arcane damage and you've played a non-attack action card, which is a great value on a card creating 4 rune chants, especially when you have cards like Amplify, like Rune Flash, like 9th Blade. But on a Mordred Tide turn, this being able to create up to 8 is absolutely amazing. It's a great setup card. I do like it, but I only like it as a 1-of. Up next, we have the Shrill of the Skull form. This costs 2, blocks 3, attacks for 2. If you have played or created an aura this turn, Shrill of the Skull form gains +3 power, so it becomes a 2 for 5. It's really just a great blue to pitch and block with. And then in that second cycle of the deck, if you pitch this early, it's coming in for 5, which is a phenomenal break point as long as you're able to play a non-attack action card before it. Then we have the Spellblade Assault package. We're running both the red and the blue at 2s. The Spellblade Assault costs 2. It blocks for 3. It attacks for 4 on the red, 2 on the blue. it creates 2 rune chants. That's the big key right there. So these are great at creating rune chants, which can help reduce the cost of some of these other cards, especially when you're able to give this card go again, and then, you know, by playing a non-attack action card like a Maverin Skies, it gives your next Rune Blade attack action card go again, and then you play a red Spellblade Assault. You're going to generate 3 rune chants without the on hit of the Maverin Skies effect, which means you can now play a Rune Flash for free, which is going to go for 4 with go again. If you've pitched a blue, you still have 1 resource floating, which means you can come in with that Rosetta. We'll talk about a few of the lines at the end, but one of the reasons why this card's a mainstay is because of that. Up next, I'm playing Spellblade Assault because I'm trying to keep the curve low on these cards, and I have a bunch of ways to give go again in the deck. This costs 1, it blocks for 3, the red one comes in for 4, the blue comes in for 2. I'm only running 1 red, I'm running 2 blues because I do need blues to pitch, but it does also create 1 rune chant, so it's kind of like a mini Spellblade Assault in the form of Spellblade Strike. And finally, I'm running 1 blue Vexing Malice. It costs 1, blocks 3, has 1 power, but it deals 2 arcane damage to a hero when you attack with it. Late game, or if your opponent is only running Arcane Barrier 1 against you, this can just force through that last crucial point of damage when they're just trying to block out and survive, because you're able to get 2 damage and arcane damage just off this 1 card. So this is the attack action suite that I am running. Up next, we're going to take a look at the non-attack action cards that I'm playing in this aggressive Viserai. All right, so here are non-attack action cards that we are running in our aggressive Viserai. We're just going to start over here. I'll explain what they do and talk a little bit about some of the synergy. Become the Arknight is Viserai specialization card. It is a blue. It pitches for 3, it blocks for 3, and then it has a bunch of text. So what it's basically saying is a non-attack action card that you play, and then when you play it, you may discard an attack action card or a non-attack action card and search your deck for the opposite. So if I play a Become the Arknight, I pitch an Oath of the Arknight, I can search my deck for one of my attack action cards. It's just a great filter. It's a great get out of jail free card. I see a lot of people jam this early and often. I'm a big fan of holding on to this, either in my arsenal or holding it in my hand if need be, in case I draw an all attack action or all non-attack action card except for this. It can just get you out of some sticky situations. It's also really good at going and finding this card, Sonata Arcana, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. Up next, we have the Oath of the Arknight. This is a wonderful non-attack action card because it blocks for 3. A lot of your non-attack action cards are going to end up blocking for 2, and this is just another great card to block with. It also pitches for 3. It does have a pseudo-relevant ability because it does cost 2. Your next Rune Blade attack this turn gains +1, and it creates a rune chant, and it has go again, but it costs 2, which is kind of steep for what you're getting out of it. Really, it's here for pitching and blocking. In a pickle, in a pinch, only non-attack action in your hand, you're trying to attack with the Rosetta, play it. But for the most part, it is really here for pitching and for blocking. Up next, we have Mordred Tide. Mordred Tide costs 0, blocks for 3 until the end of the turn. If you would create a rune chant token instead, create that mini +1, go again. This card enables a lot of rune chants to be created. So this is a phenomenal card to have in the deck just for triggering Viserai's ability, as well as setting up for some big turns. And this is what's going to allow us to use our Scaletta almost like we're an OTK deck, by getting up to some of those big numbers and getting a big Sonata. Read the Runes Red. This costs 0, blocks for 2. It creates 3 rune chants. It does not have go again. What can I say? It is great if you're able to play it on turn 1. It's great if you're able to play it off the Spellbound Creepers. It's okay if you have a bad hand and you're just setting up for next turn, because 3 is the perfect number for things like the Amplify the Arknight, like the Rune Flash. It allows you to play those for free on your next turn. I do like this card. I do find myself not really searching for it that much off Become the Arknight like you would in Classic Constructed if you're going the OTK route. But it is in here. It can be relevant, and it can really help either set up a really big turn early on or in the late game be able to set up some rune chants. It's going to be hard for your opponent to block out the rune chant damage as well as the physical damage you're going to throw at them. After that, we have all 6 copies we can possibly run of Viserai Skies. We've got 2 red, 2 yellow, 2 blue. Viserai Skies is the card that is really what this deck is based around, because this gives your next Runeblade attack action card Go Again. All of them give Go Again. Now, the difference is an on-hit effect that the card gains. So the red, if the attack action card hits, it creates 3 rune chants. Yellow creates 2 rune chants. Blue creates 1 rune chant, in addition to any other rune chants that it would create, or by playing it off Viserai's ability, creating rune chant. That doesn't stack with this, but it does stack with the Mordred Tide. So under a Mordred Tide turn, a red Viserai Skies could create you 2 for playing it, and then if the attack action card hit, it could create 4 rune chants. And again, a lot of rune chants, splitting that damage is what allows Viserai to put out 20 to 30 damage in a game of Blitz, which is very backbreaking. And the fact that you can do it very early on with very little setup, because of the redundancy in this deck, is absolutely amazing. One of the reasons why I love this deck. After that, we have Rattle Bones at a 2 of. It costs 2, it blocks for 3. It is a non-attack action card. It says banish target Runeblade attack action card from your graveyard. You may play it this turn. If you have dealt arcane damage to the opposing hero this turn, you may play Rattle Bones as though it were an instant, and it has Go Again. So another way without activating the boots to give something Go Again if you don't have Viserai Skies, if you were able to deal arcane damage from banked up rune chants, you could be threatening a Rattle Bones. Now, Rattle Bones pairs exceptionally well with Swarming Gloomveil, because it'll allow you to play it from the banish, or allow you to banish it from your graveyard and then play it. Well, this is a non-attack action, and you're able to play that card. Well, it's going to trigger a rune chant, which is going to give it Go Again. Absolutely amazing. Love it. The real powerhouse of the deck is this card right here. This is Revel in Runeblood. It costs 0, blocks for 2, and it can create a lot of rune chants, which can create a lot of damage on your opponent. What it says here is if you've played an attack action card and a non-attack action card this turn, create 4 rune chant tokens. At the beginning of your end phase, destroy all rune chants you control, Go Again. And I'm telling you, because you would have had to play a non-attack action card and an attack action card to get the benefit of the 4 rune chants, you're going to get a rune chant off playing this off Viserai's ability, plus 4. That's going to put you up to a lovely 5 rune chants just for playing this. Even if you're only playing it to swing Rosetta, that's coming in with 5 arcane off the rune chants, 2 arcane off the Rosetta, and 2 physical off of the Rosetta as well. So absolutely amazing. Last non-attack action card to talk about, we have the Sonata Arcanix. Sonata Arcanix cost XX. X is the resource that you pay. You have to pay it twice. Reveal the top X cards plus 3 of your deck. For each non-attack action card revealed this way, you may put an attack action card from the revealed area into your hand, and then Sonata Arcanix deals X damage to your target opponent, where X is the number of cards that went to your hand. And then you have to shuffle your deck and banish the Sonata Arcanix, and it has Go Again. So you can play this for 0, where you would still reveal the top 3. You could do it on a big turn. So let's say that you had 4 or 5 rune chants, and then you pop your, dig it out right now. You pop the Vexing Quahands, that's going to give you 2 more. So if you had 5, that's going to put you up to 7. Then you pop the Bloodsheath Skeletta, that's going to reduce this card by 7. Well, it has to be an even number, so you're going to get 6. So you're going to pay 3 and 3 plus the 3. So you're going to get to look at a total of 6 cards, and that's something very simple and easy for this deck to do and still go off. So you're potentially going to look at 6 cards. You're going to put 2 to 3 cards typically into your hand off of that. It's just absolutely amazing what this card can enable. Plus now you've just got blues, or you've got attack actions in your hand to just continue applying pressure. A great card. It helps enable a lot of the strategies that this deck is doing, especially when you partner it with the Viserai Skies and the Mordred Tide. So I love this card. Just I can't rave about it enough. It has been something that has been played in most of the Runeblade decks out there. It really helped the Lightning Briar. It's really been a staple in Viserai. It is a phenomenal must include in your deck kind of card. So that's going to be it for the non-attack actions. We are running 20 of those as well. So we have no defense reactions. This is really just pure out aggression. Now let's go ahead and take a quick look at a sample of what you could do with this deck. All right, so here we're gonna go with just a sample size real quick. I'm gonna draw out 4 cards. I'm gonna do it face up. We have a Revel, a Mauvrin, a Spellblade, and a Spell Flash. Now this is gonna be my opening hand, of course. So I'm going to try and just walk you through a couple of turns just to see how much damage I can do. In this position, I'm gonna play the Spellblade Assault. I feel like I wanna pitch the Mauvrian Skies like so. That's going to create 2 rune chants for me. And then I'm going to arsenal the Revel in the Rune Blood. I'm going to fix my pitch. Now that's probably going to be blocked out. Obviously they're cycling through their hand, but the important part was creating those 2 rune chants for an additional turn. I'm going to draw 3 cards here. Add to my hand, I have a Sonata, a Mordred Tide, an Amplify, plus I have the Rune Flash and this card down here. So I am really set up for a phenomenal next turn. And what I mean by that is I will play the Mordred Tide out, and I will probably go ahead and crack the Vexing Quell hand. Now the reason why I'm cracking it there is I'm under the Mordred Tide, and that's going to go ahead and put me up to 5. I'm then going to crack the Bloodsheath Scaletta. Let's say I blocked with it last turn. Let's say I'm playing smart. And I'm going to go ahead and play the Sonata Arcanix. Now the Sonata Arcanix is going to be for 2, 2 plus 3, so I'm going to get to look at 5 cards, and that's going to create 2 more rune chants. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I hit perfect because I revealed, I get 2 to my hand. These get shuffled back in, and this is now going to do 2 arcane damage to my opponent. Now I have this in my hand as well, and I'm able to go ahead and attack. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and attack with the Amplify the Arc Knight. Now I don't have Go Again, so I'm coming in for 7 rune chants. I'm creating 2 more rune chants. So I'm coming in for 7 and 6. Now I can pitch the Vexing Quell hand to put a bind counter on my creepers, float 2 resources, and I'm able to play this as an instant, Revel in Rune Blood. Now Revel in Rune Blood, because of Mordred Tide, is going to create 2 more. Now I'm also going to be able to create the 4 off this plus 1 off the Mordred Tide, so that's going to be 5. So I'm up to 9 rune chants off playing that, and essentially giving that Go Again. So now I get to play Rune Flash for free, which is going to send in 9. Plus I'm able to create 2 rune chants off that. Now I'm going to be able to come in with the Swarming Gloomveil, which is going to create 2 rune chants off that. And then I can spend 1 resource. I'm able to attack with the Rosetta. There's going to be 2 more rune chants that are going to come in off of the Swarming Gloomveil creating. So I've got 2, 2, and 2. This is an insane amount of damage that was drawn up. Mordred Tide, Sonata, popping those. I wasn't trying to OTK, but odds are I did probably just kill my opponent, because we have 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. We have 22 arcane damage that is being dealt off of this. We have 10, 14, 16 physical damage being dealt off this, not including the 2 arcane damage that was dealt off of that. It is a lot of damage. This is what Viserai can do, and I really didn't try and stack this to get a perfect hand. This is just what you can do by seeing some of the lines. Now, that is a lot of damage. Normally what you're going to end up getting, just to be honest, is if you play this out on turn 1, you have 2 rune chants. Let's say we don't have all this good stuff. Let's pick something a little bit worse, if you will. Let's say we've got a Mavrian Skies. Let's say we have a Rune Flash. Let's say we have an Oath, and we'll go ahead and we'll take an Amplify. There we go. So let's say you played that, and this is the hand that you have. Not trying to make anything fancy. We're not trying to go for super big turns here. We still have our equipment. We have the Quell hand. We have this. Not that I think we're going to need it this turn. These are the 4 cards we have in our hand after we played this card. Say we had to block out with the rest of our hand. Well, you can lead off with playing this. You can play this and pitch the Oath of the Arknight to pay the 1 additional cost for that. You're going to get 2 rune chants off that, and you're going to create a rune chant. We still have 2 resources floating. I can go ahead and pop the Vexing Quell hand, go up to 3. I can attack with this, create that, create a rune chant, still have 2 floating, spend 1 to attack with the Rosetta that I have now managed to shuffle into my deck. There we go. Now I'm able to attack with the Rosetta and the rune chant. So we have 6 rune chants coming in. We have 12 we have 12 physical damage plus 2 more arcane damage coming in. So we had a total of 8 arcane and 12 physical damage coming in off of this, and we were able to threaten 20 points of damage, which is your full life total in Blitz. This is what makes Viserai absolutely amazing. I strongly recommend picking up the deck, giving it a go. This is probably going to be one of the top tier decks that you're going to see at any of the skirmishes. Well, that's going to do it for this deck tech on Viserai. If you guys are enjoying this video series, please give it a thumbs up, give it a like, share it. And until next time, remember, get out there, play some Flesh and Blood in the Flesh and Blood. But remember, be kind.